It includes district chief executives and then members of the Council of State. There are many people in public office who do not know that they are covered under this assets declaration regime. And so, Auditor General, there must be a reminder to all these people that they are covered under the assets declaration regime. And so I have presented mine this morning, and let me make a few remarks. Senior government officials present, the Auditor General and staff of your department, we're very happy to have you here this morning at the presidency, friends of the media. I've just performed a simple but brief, very important act of presenting my completed assets declaration forms to the Auditor General as required by Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution and the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualifications Act 1998, Act 550. Ghana's assets declaration regime and its related activities have often been shrouded in secrecy, and only unless in special circumstances compliance is often difficult to measure. In times past, I would privately have presented these forms to the Auditor General in fulfillment of my statutory obligation. I've taken this step of presenting these forms publicly as a way of injecting some openness and transparency into the process of assets declaration. I've always maintained that while it is all well and good to punish corruption, a more effective way of addressing the canker is preventing it from occurring in the first place. I honestly believe that if properly curated and enforced, the assets declaration process can become a sustainable tool for tackling corruption. Corruption by nature is insidious and thrives under the cover of darkness. The more light that is shown on it, the more likely that it will be fought successfully. I've also taken this step to send an unmistakable signal to all public office holders, especially those that I have appointed, that I take the declaration of assets very seriously and expect full compliance from them. I've asked the Chief of Staff to send word to all appointees to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office. Even as we strive to hold past government officials accountable for their stewardship, I deem it even more imperative to enforce anti-corruption among our present public office holders. Charity, they say, begins at home. I'm therefore determined to take the necessary steps to ensure that we fight corruption vigorously so that the precious little resources that have been entrusted to us by the Ghanaian people are used only in their interest. There have been issues raised about the effectiveness of the current assets declaration regime. We must take advantage of the current constitution review process to strengthen the assets declaration regime to make it more relevant to changing times. I believe that we must move to a regime where the assets so declared can be published before and after public office, so that the phenomenon of unexplained and overnight wealth, obviously earned through the proceeds of corruption, can be checked. I trust that a healthy debate can be had over this issue and consensus built on the way forward, so that collectively we can defeat the unwholesome canker of corruption. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you. I was just looking at the
former Inspector General of Police. May the family and friends of Mr. Mohamed Al-Hassan join him for. Now I invite the family and friends of Air Marshal. May I now invite the family of Dr. Eunice Bookman Emisa to join her, the President and the Vice President, for a photo opportunity. May I invite the family and friends of Dr. Yadom to join him. May I invite the family of the Chianapio to join him for some photographs.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I thought that once the head of state and His Excellency has spoken, that would have ended everything. But I thank you also for the permission to give one or two remarks. And indeed, the remark goes directly in line with what His Excellency said. Because at our end there, we receive your form, just like His Excellency has done. You don't seal it. We are going to open it to see exactly what entries you have made. But when we are looking at it, what we are looking at is whether you have not left any blank spaces, whether you have not left your bank balances. Some may list all the banks that they have, but there will be no balances at it, and we will call you to come and redo it. That's the extent to which we do this. If you say you have 10 bank accounts and you bring it to us, how are we to be sure that indeed it is only 10 bank accounts that you have? If you say you have 2 buildings, what can we do to ensure that it is exactly the 2 buildings that you have? So reviewing the Constitution, as His Excellency has said, I think it's a very, very important issue that we have to take seriously. And we also support the publishing. If you submit your assets and declaration forms, we should be able to publish it freely. And the time that you are leaving office too, we will publish it to see the changes that have happened ever since you started in the office. So on behalf of myself and my staff from the Audit Service, we welcome His Excellency's wonderful idea, and whatever we can do to support, we will do. Thank you so much.
Ghana, senior staff.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are 2 types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now. All right, good morning, and let me welcome you to the Wednesday edition of Good Morning Ghana. My name is Audu Moro. Thank God for keeping us alive and kicking. We're grateful to you, also the audience, for waking up every morning and tuning into Good Morning Ghana from Monday to Fridays, because we serve you with the best of qualitative analysis as far as the newspaper reports are concerned. So I'll go straight ahead and look at the front pages of the newspaper. So Daily Graphic this morning is reporting that at National Education Forum launch, President outlines areas for reforms. And as President Mahama declares assets, OSP removes former finance minister from wanted list, Council of State takes office, Dua Jaho is chairman. Honoring coupons good for investor confidence, according to economists. The Ghanaian Times.
Declare assets by March 31 or face sanctions. President gives ultimatum to appointees. President opens National Education Forum in Ho. Apologizes to GCBC, CCG for delayed invitation. Interior Minister commends police for high standards of professionalism. Declare assets by March 31 or face sanctions. President gives ultimatum to appointees. And cholera outbreak. 719 cases confirmed. 49 deaths recorded. Daily Guide. Girl boyfriend arrested for stealing 41,000 cedis and gold. GES sacks non-payroll staff. Oforiatta returns May. OSP removes name from wanted list. I won't interfere in police duties. Muntaka to IGP. The Crusading Guide. Ken Oforiatta, no more on OSP wanted list, returns to Ghana in May. Rescuing to struggling economy, Movement for Change proposes practical economic solutions. NPA to deploy automated dispensers to implement 24-hour economy. We stand firmly by Nocheni Norte Owo the Fourth, Osu, Amantra Kinkawe, Jase affirms. APD 2025 compact calls for action at 38th African Union Summit. Ex-NSA Directors General deny padded ghost names allegations. President John Mahama's betrayal of teacher trainees, a lifelong disdain for their profession. The Insight. NPA sets new prices for petroleum products. Petrol now sells for 12.56 cedis per litre. Diesel 13.45, LPG 14.26 per kilogram. Movement for Change proposes concrete economic solutions for government consideration. Proposed privatization of ECG, TUC, PU, reject move. Courtroom chaos as suspect is arrested after attempting to flee in ongoing land case. Towards 24-hour economy, NPA is set to deploy automated dispensers. The Herald newspaper. 1.3 billion cedis embezzlement claim at NPA unreliable. Tanker owners feud to blame. Afenyo Makin, Nemako Mafo, quench OSP and Oforiatta's war of egos. Now reports on June 2 instead of March. Kwabena Dufo shut down Polytanks Ghana Limited, Unilever, Fan Milk, Nestle, Voltic affected. Chief of Staff petition to revoke Professor Dodo's retirement job. VRA staff opposed council selection with $52 million procurement allegation. There's NPA to deploy automated dispensers for 24-hour economy. The Daily Statesman. Mahama sacks teachers because GES is yet to place them on payroll. Former NSS director set record straight on ghost names, payroll scandal. OSP takes Oforiatta off wanted list. Government tax to take decisive action on energy crisis. The Ghanaian Publisher. 2 former NSA directors deny allegations on ghost names. CDM slams government energy sector management, warns of doomso. Ken Oforiatta returns in May. OSP removes him from wanted list. New media boss Alex Mode begins work. The Accra Times. Fighting meningitis in Upper West. Speaker Bagbin donates 300,000 cedis medical supplies. Mahama excites bondholders. No more picketing, no more deaths. As he pays over 6 billion cedis to DDEP bondholders. Akando storms Upper West to assess meningitis situation. Evaluagira NDC chairman is hot. Adam Agbana cries over unbearable rent situation in Ghana. NPA balls in action as he hits ground running towards fuel installations. Anglo State salutes Mahama on appointment of Johnson Esiama as Bank of Ghana governor. Allow SHS students to use mobile phones. I disagree with this, but anyway, we'll talk about that when we have to have some time. The Custodian. Mahama sacks new teachers. 2 ex-NSA bosses reply Fourth Estate on ghost names. Sami Oku seeks support for local industries. CDM warns government of a looming power crisis. MIDA CEO Alex Mode to focus on government growth agenda. NPP builds solid buffers for DDEP payments. Amin Adam. Daily Post. President Mahama swears in Council of State members. Leadership by example. President Mahama declares his assets, presents his assets declaration forms to the Auditor General. NPA to deploy automated dispensers to implement 24-hour economy. MIDA welcomes new acting CEO Alex Mode with focus on government growth agenda. We'll be back after the break. We'll introduce our resource person. Stay with us, please.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story.
But he needs not stay down for long.
Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashfoam store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashfoam, feel it, know it.
You're the answer to my prayers. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath.
I'm a fat missy way.
The Pacho Bantama.
Matias.
It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me, Jidi said we use to Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's here. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Cal 360 did the work. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will see so feeling to Kawan in Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
So what about what your papa
Yeah, this is my secret. Give us pea capsules. Hey, ma, I want to go from now on to me to my ding one pen. Give us pea capsules. Over to us, mama. Oh no, enemy lawyer.
Ah, and to lawyer no na show bottom.
I you froze? Are you froze? Then I found upon a permission about Chiamwa as a Niji.
What's on?
No. Nigga, if you are coming, a friend give us cold capsules. Say yes, is Yara and the wall swore. Cold, what did you nip a them when in our posa a mamma and Timawunja would name wouldn't give us cold capsules, sir. Obey your free
Lawyer,
give us cold capsules.
and I give us pea capsules.
Hey, and they give us free.
Obey Chinasuma.
And men what if you do what you do, Cronkwan, Efra. Give us core capsules. A pay for a batter, one more menu for one and Quadawan if you do me no come.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Oh, mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just the breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
All right, so welcome back to Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. So I'll let you in on who my guests for this morning are. In fact, both of them are seated and the conversation will start. So joining me this morning is Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. He's here with us. He's a regular on Wednesdays. Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
and thank you very much for joining us, Uncle Kwesi. It's always a pleasure having you here. And also Dr. Kingsley Nyako, who is a former Deputy Education Minister, also the MP for Kwadaso, has also joined us here. He went AWOL, but thankfully he's back. We brought him back from his hideout. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. Wow.
And it's always a pleasure having you.
Yeah, same here. How are you doing?
Good. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Happy New Year.
Yeah, man.
Since this is your first appearance on the show, 2025.
Yeah, you are right.
Where have thou been?
And my very good friend is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, well, he's somewhere.
Yeah.
He watches us every morning.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Randy Abbey.
I'm meeting my senior.
The senior brother.
One of our
and
inspirations. Yeah. Jack Toronto.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. A lot is happening in your party, you know.
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
There's the Professor Michael Quay committee which has been formed to look into what exactly led to your defeat. And but prior to that, or whilst we're waiting for their report, there's been a lot of talk about what has happened to the party. Everybody's expressing their opinion about what may have caused your massive defeat. I'm sure you've also been doing some pondering.
Yeah.
Just briefly, what have you been thinking?
Okay, so thanks for the opportunity.
Right.
Coming to your show for the first time this year. And I think later part of last year, because of the elections, I think I couldn't come here often.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be here. Happy New Year to our revered viewers.
Right.
My constituents from Kwada. So I greet them this morning. And I wish everybody the very best.
Okay.
So the elections didn't go well for us. In life, you cannot always have your way. I have come to believe that there is a reason behind why things happen. So when they do happen, you have to accept them in your stride and try to find reasons why the unfortunate incident happened, or could even be a good fortune, and see how you can correct wrongs that are identified so that you can make the future better. And if there were gains that you've made, you see how you can strengthen or solidify those gains. So
Right.
for me, since the advent of the Fourth Republic started in 1993, the NDC have won the elections. I think this is the 5th time or so, 1993, 1997, 2009, and 2008, then also 2012. And we've also done 2016, 2004, 2016, and 2020. So for me, our party should be calm. There's no need to talk too much in the media. I've come to the realization that some of these things, I wouldn't want to say things publicly. If I have anything to say, I can't say within internal party mechanisms. What I say in public wouldn't solve the problem. And I don't want to single out some persons for blame. We've gone for election, we've lost. We must all accept that one way or the other, we have contributed to the loss. And move on. There is this expression that success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan.
Right.
The point is that those who are blaming everybody by themselves, if we had won, these same persons would have claimed to be part of the victory or the success. But now that we've lost, some are trying to suggest that they were not the problem but others. I have my perspectives. I met a committee, I think 2 weeks ago, and I expressed my observations to them and my suggestions for the future.
Okay.
And I think that this is what the party has to do. You know, there's no need to go out there and blame A or B or C. It becomes untidy.
Okay.
And I don't think that is the route we should go. But I'm seeing that there's some near calmness. We need to pursue this. And if you have any issue, you can go to the committee and express, these issues of views before them. And we are expecting that the committee will be fair, will be candid to the facts that are brought before them. They should be transparent, and they should let us know what actually happened for us to see how we can address them. Myriad of issues have been put in the public domain. Some are true, some are not, some allegations and all that. But I know Professor Michael Quay. I know Professor Emerita Yantiama Bedu. I know them from the University of Ghana. And I know that they are astute academics and grounded researchers. And I hope that they will do the needful for the party to chart a better course moving forward. And I'm convinced, you know, in 2016, we won convincingly, about 1 million votes difference. And again, we had 169 seats in Parliament. The NDC had about 106. In 2020, our number was reduced by 32.
We had a hung parliament.
Near hung parliament, so 32. So we have 137, the NDC have 137.
Right.
We had an advantage because of honorable phenomena.
Yeah.
Okay? So within 4 years, the NDC could regroup and made a huge impact. And I remember in 2022, Haruna Dusu telling me that they'll win the elections of 2024. Remember, he told me, I disagree with him, but...
As in person, privately?
Yeah, we're having a conversation. He said they're going to win. I said, I don't think they're going to win. That's happened. And now, we lost about 49 seats. Okay, so now we have about 88. One are standing. If it goes in our favor, it's going to be 89. The point I'm making is that if we are able to regroup, rethink, reflect deeply, it's possible that we can
clinch back power.
Yeah, it's
in
possible.
2028.
Because if
so there's hope.
Of course. If we do our things right, and we talk less, and provide meaningful solutions within the internal party structures, for me, I think that we can stage a strong comeback. Uncle Kwesi, very experienced politician, and he knows, and now the way Ghana is, things are changing. The electorate is becoming more sophisticated and
more impatient and more intolerant.
Yeah, because Ghana, we need to move forward. Yeah. We are going to be about 68 years this year. We need to move forward. Our forward march, even though we made some progress, but I think we can do more. Look at the U.S. elections. Look at how the Republican Party won convincingly. For the first time, after the close of polls, we were able to know the outcome. Go to the UK, when the Labour Party won. After the polls, within a short time, we could know that the Labour had won convincingly. The same thing applies to Ghana. For the first time in our history, he knows better than I do, but the first time in our political history, especially in the Fourth Republic, the first time election was held, and within a short time, everybody knew that the NDC had won. Previous years, it would take days. So, I know that our democracy, is coming of age. My only concern is the monocracy, and I think that at the point we should be able to curb it. But I wish my party well.
The monocracy, the monetization of electoral politics.
Yeah, I wish my party well, and I'm pleading for calm. I'm pleading that we should respect each other. And we should desist from blaming, almost everybody. The blame game, we need to stop that and find solutions that will help us. Make our party more attractive, better.
Just briefly. I know this is not a main topic, but because it's your first time here, I'm just picking your thoughts on this briefly before we get to the more substantive issue. I've also heard people who are saying that, look, the NPP would have to work harder if he wants to stand any significant or any chance of reclenching power in 2028 because of the caliber of persons who have been appointed to, to head various positions and so on. And that you would see a situation where there are much, much younger persons who have been appointed by the president. And that it does two things. What it does, it gives the party a future. And also, these younger ones are expected. I think that the expectation is that they would want to work harder in order to keep the party in government because they're much younger, they feel they still have more time, and so on and so forth. And then they juxtapose that appointment to what you have done with the appointment of the chairman of the fact-finding committee. That's Professor Michael Quay. And again, you read social media commentary, and some of them are saying that, look, the NPP doesn't appear to learn. And that of all the persons you have in your party, why would you want to put somebody who is almost in his 80s to head a fact-finding committee? How productive would their work be? Do you think it's a valid and a legitimate concern, or you think it's neither here nor there?
People have their reasons. They say that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So the young persons you are talking about, they just started. I know some of them to be capable, but I'm hoping that they can deliver. The fact that they are young doesn't mean that they're going to deliver. I know some of them personally that I know that they are competent. And for me, I wish them well. But I don't think it is completely true that we didn't appoint young persons into office. Matipoku Pempe, when he was appointed, he was below 50 years. He was not an old person. You have people like Nitibu, very young guy. I remember when Nitibu was appointed, there was an outcry in Ghana that he was very young. But Nitibu was there. You had Abu Jinapor, Deputy Kojopon Nkrumah. You also have Asenso Boache. You had John Kuma. I was even heading NAB. There are a lot of them. We had a lot of youth in the system. You know what I mean? As Kasiama, the sports minister, the ministerial level.
NEIP.
Yes, yeah, he took over from John Kumar. John Kumar was the first person who was there who took over from him. So we, our general secretary, Justin Kodia was heading YGA. Okay, Nabi, deputy at now National Service Authority, Mustafa Yusuf. So we had young guys there. But I see, and I think that maybe the NDC is learning from us, or maybe they are improving upon that. But if you go to Parliament right now, some of the MPs are not even happy about the appointment that is being made by the president.
You mean within the NDC?
Yes, because some are saying that some of the appointees have been tested before, and that they wanted new faces, to be appointed. Okay, so I wouldn't say that they did better than us. We have examples of youth in our party occupying very sensitive and respectable positions, either as ministers of state or deputy ministers of state, as CEOs and all that. We had that. We are giving opportunity to the youth, but the youth shouldn't disappoint us. Okay, at times too, you need a blend. You cannot have all youth. You cannot have all aged people. Professor Michael Kay, I know him, is a very competent person. He's old. It doesn't mean that his IQ or his brain is not functioning well. Right. In the committee, you also have other young persons. I have worked closely with Professor Yan Chama Bedu, okay, at the University of Ghana. I know you go to the University of Ghana, I tell you, she's one of those who, when she was there, was able to attract a lot of grants and funds for the university. Okay. She was heading, there is an agency there, wetlands, okay, she was heading that. My point is that we have to be very careful about how we judge people based upon their position. Okay. Let them bring their report and let us see whether there is merit or substance in what they deliver. But the youth in the NDC, I want them to be very careful, because the trappings of power, if you're not careful, at the end of the day, Ghanaians might be discouraged a bit. They need to prove to all of us and justify to the president that their appointments were not just happenstance, but because they were supposed to deliver certain objectives for us. So I think, this is what I would say about the 18, the youth thing, and all that. We also have a lot of youthful appointees. Reverend Tim Ford George, came deputy minister. Okay. Kwesi Pratt knows they are there. Okay. But see, the point is the impact that you are supposed to make on the ministry, department, or agency that you've been assigned to. That is how we are going to measure. Okay. We are not going to measure your youthfulness, or your elderliness. That is not the measurable criterion. Right. The measurable criterion is whether you were able to achieve A, B, C. That's all. If you couldn't achieve, then age becomes immaterial. Okay,
that's fine. That's fine. Before we get on with our main conversation today, let me just talk to you about a product which has been associated with, or which is associated with Good Morning Ghana. It's a product that most of you very familiar with, and I'm talking about Blue Jeans energy drink. It's been on the market for 20 years, and we already know what it does for the body. It contains many vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. So Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. We know it, and we can testify that it is indeed the best in the market. So So Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. So if you want to be a bold and an active woman, try Blue Jeans. Yeah, take it from me, try Blue Jeans, and you never regret today. It's in shops nationwide. For bulk purchases, please contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited. So take this number. There are two important numbers: 020-812. So 020-812-8190, and then 055-001-000. So the zeros are 4. 055-001-000. So Blue Jeans, you do all. It's Blue Jeans energy drink. Anyway, so let's get on with our first conversation for the morning. So it's about the OSP. I mean, we all know that the OSP had declared the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, as a fugitive from justice. And there's been an update. And that's what we intend to talk about. So if you look at page 20 of today's Daily Graphic, it reports that the OSP removes former finance minister from wanted list. The story is by Justice Agbenossi, and it says the special prosecutor Kese Jabin has removed the former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta, so Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta, I just wanted to be brief, from its list of wanted persons. The special prosecutor explained that the former finance minister had, through his lawyer, stated a definite date of his voluntary return to the jurisdiction. As a result, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, has acceded to Mr. Ofori-Atta's request. A statement signed by the special prosecutor has revealed the OSP said it deemed as reasonable in the circumstances Mr. Ofori-Atta's stated date of voluntary return to the jurisdiction. Reschedule. The statement added that the special prosecutor had rescheduled the date of Mr. Ofori-Atta's attendance at the OSP, taking into account his stated date of voluntary return to the jurisdiction. Consequently, Mr. Ofori-Atta has been removed from the OSP's list of wanted persons, and the OSP ceases to consider Mr. Ofori-Atta a fugitive from justice, pending his voluntary return to the jurisdiction circa his stated date. The statement adds that if Ofori-Atta fails to voluntarily return to the jurisdiction circa his stated date, and if Mr. Ofori-Atta fails to attend the OSP on the rescheduled date, he shall be re-entered on the OSP's list of wanted persons, and the OSP shall then consider him a fugitive from justice, and the OSP shall take all the necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP at our choosing. But then there's a very interesting story in today's Herald newspaper, and I just thought I should box the two together so that my guests can look at it comprehensively. And the story here says that the Herald has uncovered the names of two key individuals instrumental in brokering what appears to be a truce between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the legal team of former Finance Minister. Minority Leader Alexander Fenyomaki and legal practitioner Gary Nimako were deeply involved in negotiations between the two parties, culminating in an agreement that Mr. Ofori-Atta, currently undergoing medical assessment abroad, is expected to return to Ghana in May 2025, and he's set to appear before the OSP by June 2025. Interestingly, a letter dated February 7, 2025 and cited by the Herald initially suggested Ofori-Atta's return in March 2025. However, subsequent communication, no, but this one, Herald, I disagree. March 2025 was when he said they could tell when Ofori-Atta would be in town, so it's not entirely accurate. Sources within the Herald indicate that after a series of fiery exchanges, including a press conference by the OSP and official correspondence, both parties turned to their mutual contact, Fenyomaki and Nimako Marfo, to facilitate a resolution. The intervention led to an agreement on a timeline for Ofori-Atta's return. The former minister is presently at the Mayo Clinic, a renowned cancer treatment facility in the United States for observation. Notably, this is the same hospital where he sought treatment in 2021, resulting in then Majority Leader Chairman Sabonsu presenting the budget statement on his behalf in Parliament. Gary Nimako, a close associate of Special Prosecutor Kese Jabo, played a crucial role in securing a definitive date from Ofori-Atta's lawyers, which led to a shift in the OSP stance. Consequently, the Special Prosecutor rescinded his earlier declaration that former Finance Minister was a wanted man. How is he? What do you make of this?
Well, look, I think that this is a very complicated matter.
Okay.
And that we should look at it from all of its dimensions. I like to look at it from the raid on the house of Mr. Furiata. And I like to state with all emphasis that there was no basis for that raid, and that raid was reckless and amounted to thuggery. And I insist that those who were responsible need to be brought to justice. Now, I say this as somebody who has suffered similar abuse for most part of my life. And I've always said that what happened to me should not happen to anybody, regardless of their political party affiliation. Nobody should be arrested, detained outside the due process. Now, we have been told, initially the special prosecutor indicated that raid on Mr. Furiata's house was orchestrated by himself in order to provide some basis for attacking the OSP. Now, I'm not sure that the special prosecutor will hold on to the claims that he made at that press conference. But it is obvious that the persons who were responsible for that attack were actually mobilized from national security. They included plainclothes persons, they included persons apparently from the military, and also persons from the police service. I've listened to Mr. Mama Ayaraga, who claims to have spoken to the leadership of the police and the military, who obviously say that this had nothing to do with the services. Okay. I've also read reports in some of the papers that the exercise was led by a gentleman called Richard Jakpa, and that the claim is that he is some coordinator for special operations in national security.
Director of operations.
Yes.
At the how do you call it, national security?
National security.
Yes.
And that he went to the premises with an arrest warrant.
Yes.
It doesn't settle the matters. Even the national security coordinator himself cannot and should not be allowed to enter any premises in this country to effect arrest or search without proper warrants. You understand?
Right.
Even the president cannot do so. So the fact of Mr. Richard Jakpa being an appointee in the national security establishment does not justify this action.
Despite the fact that he had a warrant.
Just relax.
Okay. No, I'm just asking.
Now, the claim is that he went to the premises with a warrant.
Yes.
What warrant? Who issued the warrant? What is the legality of that warrant upon which the house was
raided
and so on? Now, these are questions that cannot be answered in just media banter and so on. These are questions that ought to be answered through the institution of proper investigations, and I insist on it. You understand? I don't understand for a moment why the majority leader in parliament found it necessary to apologize. First of all, did he apologize because he was party to the raid? Did he apologize because his government ordered the raid? And if he was not party to the raid, it was not ordered by his government, and it was done by rogue elements. Did he lie in his mouth to offer an apology? What we would have expected from the majority leader would have been to call for full-scale investigations into that action. That action is very frightening, and I think we need to get to the bottom of it. That's number one. Now, about Mr. Ken Furiata and the wanted notice, which was placed on him and so on. Let me make this also very clear. Under the laws of Ghana, nobody accused of a crime can be forced to cooperate with the investigating agencies. So, for example, if you are accused of theft, you can actually inform the police that you have no statement to make, and the police cannot compel you to make a statement. the OSP cannot compel you to answer questions that they put before you and so on. Indeed, you can always tell the investigating authorities to meet you in court, and that is legal, it is legitimate, and so on. So we should not get into the situation where we are now creating the impression that once an allegation has been made against you, you are bound to provide answers to questions which may be raised and so on. I think that position is clearly untenable, and we should understand that very clearly. It will be a violation of the rights of citizens if citizens are compelled to answer or to assist in their own prosecution. You are not supposed to be assisting in your own prosecution. My understanding of the law, and of course you should understand that I'm not a lawyer, my understanding of the law is that even spouses cannot be compelled to give evidence against their partners, you know, in criminal proceedings and so on. So we need to understand that very clearly. Now, this is not to say that Mr. Ofori-Atta is an angel and that no action should be taken against him. Who am I? What do I know? Mr. Ofori-Atta was Minister of Finance for 8 years. Within those 8 years, he demonstrated his immense power. Even when the majority of his own party MPs had decided that it was no good for the job, he continued staying there for a very long time. When he had to be removed as Minister of Finance, he was given a position which was the envy of many people and so on. That's a demonstration of his influence and power and so on. Now, if he had that influence and that power, and many decisions were taken, including the contraction of loans under circumstances which were not all pleasing and so on, he may have questions to answer. But I'm saying that if he has questions to answer, let's use the proper procedure and so on to get him to answer those questions. Now, the crux of the matter is that Mr. Ofori-Atta was invited by the Office of Special Prosecution and he did not show up. On the grounds of ill health, his lawyers produced some kind of a document indicated that he was under medical investigation. The OSP, on the face of the document, was not satisfied that that was a clear testimony of ill health. So what do? Mr. Ofori-Atta and his lawyers can provide better documents. You understand? Better documents, verifiable documents, which show that he's ill. And indeed, if he's not well, he cannot be compelled to travel and to come back to the country. So it's just a question of producing better documents about his health, which were not produced in the first instance. Now, this morning, I read a transcription of an interview with NEAT FM by Mr. Gary Nimaku. I hope I got the name right.
Yes, Gary Nimaku.
Gary Nimaku. Yeah. Who is supposed to be one of the leaders of the legal teams of the New
In fact, he's the head of their legal team.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And he makes the point that the NPP press conference of the matter was rushed. And that if he had been consulted, he would not have advised the NPP to hold that press conference. He was saying that that press conference was hurried, it was immature, and so on. That's a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, indeed, head of the legal department of the party who is speaking. And he thought that the whole press conference amounted to political grandstanding. You understand? These are strong words. Strong words. Now, I think that there's no Ghanaian worthy of that title, the title Ghanaian, who would oppose investigations into malfeasance, who would have objections to setting the record straight as far as the governance of this country is concerned. I mean, if you become a minister, you take an oath. You have to abide by that oath. You understand? If you become a member of parliament, you take an oath.
Sure.
And you have to abide by that oath. As we sit here, this country is in very deep crisis. I mean, this morning, all three of us were talking about the state of the cocoa industry. It is frightening. We have a situation where for the first time, cocoa production has gone down by more than 50%. For the first time, the Cocoa Marketing Board could not even secure, the syndicated loan for the purchases of cocoa and so on. Very frightening situation in the cocoa sector, which is supposed to be one of the mainstays of the national economy. But elsewhere, I mean, I'm hearing about state corporations whose level of indebtedness exceeds 300 million and so on. Frightening. Those who took us to this point must explain to us, they must answer, serious questions. And if they are found to have acted criminally, leading to this mess, we have to hold them accountable. So it's a question of balancing the principle, the legal and constitutional principles and so on, and also the duty of the state to exact justice and the duty of individuals to account for their stewardship. It's a tricky balance, but we have to balance it well. And in the balancing, it should not lead to the violation of individual rights. That's all my point.
Sure.
Nothing more.
Just a couple of questions, though, Nkwesi. You talked about the fact that nobody can be compelled when an allegation is made against them to assist in investigations. It is entirely your right to say you will not. But the OSP has said it time and again that the case of Ken Ofori-Atta is not a case of him being a person of interest. When you're a person of interest, you have all kinds of rights that you can exercise. But he says in this case, Ofori-Atta is actually a suspect. So they are looking for the man. They want to arrest him and charge him before they can go to court. And so when people raise the issues about why can't you, for instance, speak to him digitally or say virtually? And if you have any questions you want to ask him, go ahead and do it. Or why don't you even go to America? Go to Mayo Clinic and sit down with him and have a talk with him. And they came to say, look, for instance, in the case of Airbus, there were persons of interest. And so they had to travel all the way abroad to go and interview them. But in this case, the man, he's a suspect. They want to arrest him physically. Arrest him and charge him and take him to court. Of course, when you are being charged, you have the right of Miranda rights. You have the right to say nothing. But here they want to arrest him physically.
In discussing delicate issues such as this one of the most difficult things is the choice of words.
Right.
Because the right choice of words may lead us astray, may lead us into an alley and so on. So we have to be careful. But you see, my brother, don't we know about trials in absentia?
But that's after the person has been charged.
No.
According to the lawyers. I'm not a lawyer.
There are trials in absentia. I'm aware of trials in absentia. And I didn't know that you have to be charged before you are tried in absentia.
Yes, you have to be arrested and charged.
No. There are many cases in which people have been tried in absentia when they have not been charged. Well, you have to be charged.
Yes.
But when they have not been arrested.
Yes.
So trials in absentia are allowed. Okay.
Well.
Now again, I think that one of the things that we may have to be dealing with, as we move forward, has to do with cost of investigations and cost of prosecutions.
Okay.
It's a very important matter.
Right.
And it has come up in the decision of the new Attorney General to drop charges against people like Dr. Opuni and so on.
Yes.
Look, the prosecuting authorities in this country have to bear in mind that cost of investigation and cost of prosecution, to the extent that it is possible, ought to be lowered. So if you have a situation where former appointees are living in London and they are living in Paris and so on, and our prosecutors and investigators have to travel all over the world in order to interview them and so on, I just wonder what the cost would be like to the state.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering whether that is the most appropriate means, of doing that.
Okay.
As for today, we are talking today, and there are technological innovations which enable us to talk to people all over the world. Even WhatsApp platforms can be used to speak to people and so on. But any accomplished investigator would also tell you that talking through phones, and other devices and so on, is not the same in an investigation.
True.
Because there's so many things that the investigator is looking for, which are not just in the words of the person. The investigator is also looking at the disposition of the person.
Body language.
Everything.
Yeah.
You understand? So that may not be the best way of carrying out investigations. But you see, in whatever we do, there's a hierarchy of choices. There's a hierarchy of choices, and whatever choice we make ought to be informed by so many different considerations. I am not the one to tell the special prosecutor how to conduct his job. I don't have the competence. Of course, as a citizen, I have a right to complain when I think that he's not doing his work properly and so on.
Absolutely.
But I don't have the right to be instructing the special prosecutor on how to technically conduct his investigations and so on. My concern has to be with the violation of rights or non-violation of rights of citizens and so on. And I want to leave it there. I don't want to proceed any further.
All right. Doc.
Moro. So, the action by the OSP, for me, was not right. I think that Ken Ofori-Atta, former Minister of State, is not above the law, and that he wouldn't run away from being investigated and prosecuted. We have a country that is built on a constitution and laws, and at all material moments, due process must be adhered to. Nobody is saying that none or any of the former appointees, if or when they have been found to have done something untoward, something that affronts our country, a wrongdoing, should be left out of the hook. Nobody is saying that. Justice must be served, accountability must be exacted and demanded from anybody who holds political office or the Deputy Minister for Education. They're not above the law. But in our quest to ascertain whether somebody abused their office or engaged in any corrupt act, we must allow the rule of law to prevail. The OSP, when he was speaking to the press, and Anke Kwesi did say that what happened in Ken's house was staged. He accused Ken Ofori-Atta of wrongdoing. An investigator should build their cases on sound and grounded evidence. But now it has turned out that that pronouncement of his was wrong. And I'm expecting him to do the needful by apologizing to the person, Ken Ofori-Atta. Because for me,
to be fair.
Yeah.
And of course, you're entitled to interpret that statement.
Yeah.
That's it's entirely up to
Tell
you.
me what he said. No.
He said that raid was either staged or an imposter action. Those were the two exact words that he used. But you're entitled to interpret and to say that, he's referring to Ken.
What you've said is not different from what I've said.
Okay.
At least one of what I've said is captured in your statement, purported to have been said by him, either himself or by an imposter. So,
no, what I'm saying that what I heard him say, we just want to be fair to the facts.
Yeah.
I'm saying you're entitled to interpret it the way you want it. But the man said that raid was either staged or an imposter action. But there was no mention of Ken Ofori-Attah's name in that statement. I can read it to you.
So who was he referring to?
So we can ask for better particulars.
No, because I want to be careful.
It was so obvious.
Yes.
He was referring to Ken.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to be very careful. I don't want, in my politics, I don't want to impugn somebody's integrity.
Yeah.
Because if it is done to me, I wouldn't be happy. That is why I want to choose my words carefully.
Yes.
I'm saying what I heard him say. But evidence shows that Ken's house was raided by security operatives.
There's no doubt about it.
So, upon what basis did he make that pronouncement if you've not gathered enough evidence? Okay, so for me, that is something he has to think. He has to think about it, and I expect him to apologize to Ken. Number two, I'm not a lawyer, but upon what basis did he classify or label or describe Ken Ofori-Attah as a fugitive of justice and a wanted man? Who is a wanted person? Somebody who is in custody and has absconded. Somebody who has broken jail. This somebody who is being pursued by the police. Is a wanted person. But there is somebody who has not escaped from custody. Somebody who sought permission from the chief of staff, both chief of staffs, the outgone one and the current one, with evidence. Article 19(1) of the Constitution says that a person even charged with a criminal offense shall be given a fair hearing within a reasonable time by a court, assuming you've even been accused. I heard Andy Kwesi on last week Tuesday on Peace FM, and he made an instructive point. Why do we go for people that we believe have abused their office? Are we only interested in their incarceration, or we are interested in what we believe they have wrongfully amassed? For me, the bottom line is that we have to be very careful in this country. When regimes change, we don't have to assume that the former regime was made up of individuals who abused their offices or engaged in corrupt practices without having ample evidence to say same. And that is a practice I want us to be very careful about. Ken, the OSP wrote to Ken, I think on the 24th of February, asking him to appear before the OSP on the 10th of February. The letter was written by him on 24th of January. 24th of January that he should appear before the 10th.
Yes.
And his lawyers told him that the man is unwell. If you disbelieve what the lawyers had said, what do you have to do? As an investigator, you need to do your own checks and you establish whether what the man is saying is true or not. Then you did this press conference and
the OSP disagrees with you on that. They say that it is actually the responsibility of Ken and his lawyers to give further and better particulars. It's not their responsibility. I don't know what you think.
I also disagree with him. You are the investigator.
It says me, I'm looking for you.
Oh,
you prove
that is not fair. That is not fair.
Yeah.
That is not fair. He's a lawyer, and I'm sure he knows the procedure.
Yeah.
What's the role of an investigator? That if I don't produce further and better particulars, you don't have an obligation to do same?
No, as for me, I'm coming after you.
Then how do we pay you? You don't come for me without justifiable cause. There must be some amount of reasonableness in whatever you do. I mean, the arts, the OSP Act of 2017 gives him power. He doesn't exercise his own power. He derives his powers from the arts.
Absolutely.
Please, those of us who are privileged to lead, you must understand that it's an honor and that there's other persons who are better than us. So when we are exercising our powers, we must do so judiciously and not capriciously and whimsically. Today you have power, tomorrow the power will elude you. And what you don't wish to be done to you in future, don't do to others. Okay, so I am for accountability. I need to account to Ghanaians. What I did with my office, but due process must be adhered to. Okay. And you know, the same Article 19 talks about, Article 19 2C. A person even charged with a criminal offense shall be presumed to be innocent until he is proved or has pleaded what? Guilty.
No doubt.
And the F says, be permitted to defend himself before the court in person or by a lawyer of his choice. So, if we are going for wrongdoing, assuming Ken Ofori-Atta is bedridden, assuming he cannot even speak, and we still need him per this constitutional provision, can't his lawyer even stand in for him to provide the answers that you need? Should it necessarily be that you have to be around in person? We said it's advancing. Unless there's an ulterior motive behind what you are doing. Okay?
They say they don't have a case. They don't have a case with the lawyers. They have a case with Ken. They're not interested in talking to the lawyers. So they'll wait till Ken recovers from whatever illness or medical condition.
Yes. We hope that he recovers. Okay? But nobody can predict tomorrow.
Okay.
Nobody can predict tomorrow. As I sit here, do I know what will happen to me tomorrow? We cannot. So if we have an opportunity to do right, we must do that as long as we have the power and the means to do. Otherwise, the time might come that what we are even looking for, we cannot even get it. We must exercise our powers so well. And I'm asking the government to start a full-scale investigation into that needless raid in the house of Ken Ofori-Atta. Because it can happen to any other person. We must stop. We are resetting the country. We must do things right. Others dead. Those years, those dark years, we don't need them now. We must live in peace. The Constitution guarantees our safety. You cannot invade my privacy. You cannot invade my property. Just like that. I be told you cannot do that. There should be a just cause why you should come to my house. We are not living in a jungle. We are living in a civil society, a democratic society. A society that we built to the toil and sweat and blood of our fathers. And all of us must protect this. We must protect our democracy. 32 years of democracy in this country, it's not the best, but we must be proud of it and guide it and allow the rule of law to prevail. Our liberties must be respected. That is what we need to do. Not that, because power will be changing. When NPP won, when we had the 169 seats, people were saying that the NDC will be extinct, right? People were saying that, but I disagree. Or dealing with human beings, you cannot play. You can build heaven. You can build heaven.
Whether power changes or not, the OSP will still be. It's independent. Of course, he has a 7-year mandate, but it's supposed to be an independent.
No, but yes.
So when you say power changes,
no.
Oh, you mean with the acting of the national
about constitutional power, like regimes.
Yes.
We have 169 seats.
I'm saying, but what has that got to do with the work of the OSP? I'm trying to get a linkage.
No, the point I'm making is that
okay,
we are building democracy.
Yes.
Okay, that democracy must be jealously guarded.
Yes.
The OSP that you are saying that has a face power. Look at the acts. It can be removed per certain acts and inactions of him.
Of course.
When he does something untoward, it can be changed. Okay, so we must all tread cautiously.
Okay.
And that, in concluding, Mr. Pratt, in concluding, I know that Ken will avail himself for us to know the truth of what transpired under his jurisdiction. Thank you.
All right.
Look, I have a very strong view
Okay.
on the Office of Special Prosecutor.
What is it?
We have arrived here because of a conspiracy between the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party. It is their conspiratorial behavior which has brought us here. If you take the 1992 Constitution, it is clear that the power to prosecute is vested in the Attorney General.
Absolutely.
Absolutely vested in the Attorney General. To be able to take that power from the Attorney General, or part of that power from the Attorney General, you need a constitutional amendment.
Yes.
We didn't go by way of a constitutional amendment to create the Office of Special Prosecutor. What we did was to go to Parliament and enact an act. Why did we do so? We did so because the MPP wanted the Office of Special Prosecutor established so badly because it thought that it could make political capital out of it, and so on. That's what they thought. The NDC, on the other hand, did not want to oppose the establishment of the office so as to look bad, so as to look at people who were afraid of accounting for their stewardship and so on. So the compromise was to establish this Office of Special Prosecutor, give it powers that the Constitution vests in another authority, and so on. And this is the mess we have created for ourselves. Political convenience is what has led us here. In any case, what was the main argument about creating the Office of Special Prosecution? The main argument was that, look, the Attorney General sits in cabinet, and therefore, if he was to prosecute or pursue, cases against people from other political parties and so on, it may be seen to be politically biased or under the influence of the president.
Yeah.
But this contraption we created, the special prosecutor is still appointed by the president.
So did we go or did we come?
We haven't solved any problem. We've just created another layer, and for me, it doesn't make sense at all.
And interestingly, because to add to what you just said, I've also heard, for instance, members of the MPP say the NDC is behind this. Is behind what the Office of the Special Prosecutor is doing. It's just to buttress the point you're making.
How can the NDC be behind this special prosecutor?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. For anybody to suggest that even remotely, the National Democratic Congress is pushing the
go after Ken.
Yes. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Maybe if we had.
I also think that. Siding with you, in a way, that's my opinion. It's difficult for, even though we are saying that the OSP should be independent federal,
okay,
it will be difficult for the OSP to take certain major decisions without recourse to the Attorney General.
Right.
It will be difficult. I'm telling you, because the OSP derives his power from that of the Attorney General, as captured in Article 88 of the Constitution. So, for me, there is that communication between the OSP and the Attorney General.
So did we go or did we come? If the OSP cannot take independent
we went and came.
If the OSP cannot take independent decisions and they still reliant on the Attorney General.
Because this was a very mischief we said we're going to cure. And now we're back to square one. Anyway.
Maybe the intent.
But more seriously,
yes,
I don't think that anybody has been able to provide any evidence that in this matter there was collaboration between the OSP and the Attorney General.
There's
no evidence.
That's true.
It's just pure speculation.
That's true.
With no grounds at all.
I didn't say have evidence.
You say
but I'm saying that per the linkage between the two offices, there might be that kind of You know what I mean? Behind the scenes.
But you've just said exactly what he's saying. This is pure suspicion and just an opinion you're expressing. There's no evidence to it. So maybe if we had a more powerful and a more impactful council of state members, perhaps we wouldn't have even gone ahead to create an office of the special prosecutor. So it brings back really what the role of the Council of State is. And we're going to delve into that after that, but we'll take a short break now because we're supposed to have a group of white heads who are supposed to be advising our president and the other state organs on how to bring us better governance. Unfortunately, some people feel that they have not lived up to expectation and that they've actually outlived their usefulness. That's some person's opinion. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll delve into a conversation about the Council of State. It's now been formed. But some people say that it's just on paper, but it does nothing. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bread called mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me. You didn't spot the mattress we did the front there. Yeah? That be the mattress where the dead for time. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like Ash Foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com. Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath.
I'm fat Missy Wayne.
The Pacho Bantama.
Machasi.
It's her smile. The fresh breath.
Me Jidi said we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind. Cal 360 toothpaste.
Guys, Kia, Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim Jom Kasan. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint, gives me fresh breath, and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling kika when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
In an era where fire safety is paramount, Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited stands out as a leader in the development of innovative fire dousing solutions. With a focus on aqueous film forming foam, the company provides a cutting-edge product that significantly enhances fire suppression capabilities across various sectors, including maritime, industrial and emergency response.
The oil and gas sector, along with chemical manufacturing facilities and fire services.
Kabori's advanced film technology offers a more efficient and environmentally responsible alternative.
Kabori is recognized for its superior extinguishing capabilities and prolonged resistance to reignition. Kabori's product is certified by the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Standards Authority, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Nigerian Standards Organization.
Kabori Film Compound Limited is situated in Nsawam within the eastern region of Ghana. For inquiries, reach out to them on 0245-885-288 or 0244-514-048. You may also contact them via email at info@kaborifilm.com. Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited, providing film compound solutions to help institutions.
You're the answer to my prayer. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Please, next time, can you put it in the dustbin?
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'll not do that again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Girl, how are you? I've really missed you.
Look at how she's looking so fabulous.
I know, right?
Thank you. Auntie Naya.
Yes, dear.
Uncle Kofi.
Yes, dear.
All you've been teaching me about sanitation, I've been teaching my friends at school, and it has been absolutely great.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
That's a great impact you're making now.
Sure. Keep it up, girl.
Okay.
Sure.
Auntie Naya.
Yes, dear.
I need to tell you something.
Go ahead.
If we want to be successful as a people, we need to be aware of the importance of sanitation.
That's true.
That's true. You're right, Amma. You're right. That's true. Naya, do you know sanitation is so important and crucial in our society?
Yes, Kofi, and I thank God for Kids Sanitation IQ, which you can also just say KS IQ. It's an important show that you don't need to miss it.
Kids Sanitation IQ. That's a great show. I understand the show has been designed for the kids to educate the public on some special sanitation categories.
I know, right? And I learned they will also educate the public on sanitation for environmental and community development.
I also understand they would educate the public on sanitation for educational development.
Wow.
Yeah.
Education, you say?
Oh, God.
Wow.
Right.
It is amazing. They also have sanitation for health development.
Oh, health
and
development.
Sanitation for corporate.
Corporate and health, Nana.
Don't play.
This one will intrigue you. I understand this kids will educate the public on sanitation that benefits the needy.
The
Isn't
needy,
it
you
amazing?
say?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Oh, God.
Don't miss this
You
show.
don't have to miss the Kids Sanitation IQ show.
Three days ago, what has been happening? A report purporting or coming from the Office of the Special Prosecutor trying to indict the Deputy Commissioner of Operations and myself. And if anybody who has read that report very well will know the basis of that. And luckily for me, God is always on my side. Before that report came, that person had made a statement to some people who had come to them. He was going to publish something that will discredit me, and he will do that. And I even sent people to go and tell him that he's a small boy. I'm older than him. I have lived a meaningful life. If he attempts to destroy me, it won't be easy for him. People have tried it. I have survived, and this one too, I'll survive. All that.
No boring moments here on Good Morning Ghana. Anyway, welcome back. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television, and we're now going to be dealing with our second issue, which has to do with the Council of State. It's now been formed. It's actually been formed, let me put it that way. Doa Jaho is now the chairman and is being captured on today's daily graphic. Kester Abraham Kranche from the Jubilee House is reporting that the 31-member Council of State has elected former Speaker of Parliament, Doa Jaho, as its chairman. This follows the swearing-in of members of the council by the President John Dramani Mahama yesterday evening. Mr. Jaho, a lawyer and a 5-term legislator who represented the people of Ave Havana constituency in the Volta region, was the 5th Speaker of Parliament. He is the first Speaker to be elected from among members of Ghana's Parliament. Now, while Articles 89 to 92 of the 1992 Constitution sets up the Council of State and names 3 categories of past office holders, the President must mandatorily choose from, and it also allows him to nominate 11 more persons to the council, in addition to elected regional representatives. Now, for the former office holders, the president nominated former Chief Justice Sophia Kufu, the former Inspector General of Police, IGP, that's Mohamed Ahmed Alassan, and former Chief of Defense Staff, Air Marshal Michael Samson Oje, retired, in addition to the President of the National House of Chiefs, Ojiabo Yao JB II. President Mohammed welcomed the newly sworn-in members of the Council of State, emphasizing the significance of the occasion. Today marks another significant step in our collective commitment to the democratic ideals of governance and development. President Mohammed acknowledged the Council's role as a reservoir of experience, guidance, and non-partisan insight for the executive arm of government. He stated that the Council's role was not merely ceremonial, and this is where our conversation is going to be. It's going to focus on merely ceremonial, but one of profound responsibility. You're expected to offer wise counsel in matters of governance, policy, and national development, drawing from your diverse backgrounds and experience. President Mahama urged the Council of Members to provide insightful, actionable, and transformative guidance to propel the nation forward, highlighting the complex challenges facing the nation, including economic distress, social cohesion issues, and the need to strengthen democratic institutions. And Mr. Jaho, on his part, assured the President that members would work as a team to change past perceptions, of which I hold one. I hold the perception that the Council of State has outlived its usefulness. It's just a drain on the public kitty. That's just my opinion, but that's I'm entitled to it. But it says that would work as a team to change past perceptions about the Council and its role in national development. It is true that many have questioned the relevance of the Council of State. Some have even called for abolition, but I want to assure you that this Council will be a Council of a difference. The chairman of the Council of State said, the President acknowledged that the Council of State had faced criticism in recent times, with some perceive its work as unsatisfactory and merely designed to rubber stamp executive decisions. Obviously, relevant, not relevant, purely ceremonial, or not?
Well, if you read the Constitution, the Constitution sees the Council of State as an advisory body to the President. And then also gives the Council the power to intervene when there is a dispute between the President and Parliament.
Yeah.
Because if Parliament passes a bill, and the President is not too happy with it, he refers it to the Council of State.
Sure.
So to that extent, you can see it as a body which resolves disputes between Parliament and the President. There are some things to which must necessarily go to the Council of State. For example, when it comes to the amendment of the Constitution, the Council of State has a role to play even before the amendment gets to Parliament and so on. So then the Council is also required or empowered to advise ministers or to proffer advice on matters before all state agencies and so on. So essentially, this is the Council of State. I will be hesitant in describing it as a body of no relevance, because as we move on, it is possible to reach a point where there will be a clear, very clear conflict between President and Parliament. And you need institutions to help resolve those matters. You understand? So, to that extent, even if it's not relevant now, it will be relevant in the future. Now, I like to look at some of the issues, very controversial issues, which have gone before the Council of State. And the most controversial issue has to do with appointments to the Electoral Commission. When the outgoing president appointed members of his party to the Electoral Commission, many people wrote petitions to the Council, and the Council simply did not act.
How do you know?
It refused to act.
Maybe they did.
How
the
do
president
you know?
did listen.
How do you know?
Maybe.
From the statements that came from the Council and so on, they refused to act. And I was very, very unhappy with the Council when it failed to take decisive decision over such a crucial matter as the appointment of political party, card-bearing political party members, onto the commission and so on. But be that as it may, I'm particularly happy about the election of Right Honorable Doa Jaho as Chairman of the Council of State. He's somebody that I've known over the years, and I think that he's a very balanced individual. Takes his work very seriously, and is eminently qualified to play that role, having been Speaker of Parliament, having been a 5-time Member of Parliament, and so on. And indeed, if you look at the time when he was a Member of Parliament, his performance was beyond, criticism and so on. So I would think that he's probably the best placed person under circumstances to chair the Council of State. One other thing that would be in his favor is that he's somebody who has deliberately tried to avoid partisanship. And those of you who in Parliament would testify that when he was Speaker of Parliament, you could not tag him as a partisan and so on. So for all of this, I think that he's so eminently qualified, to be a member of the Council of State and also its chairperson. My problem with the Council of State has to do with the election of 16 regional representatives.
Good.
It's a big problem. We should be worried because it could very soon be reduced to the level of parliamentary elections. It could be monetized. It could lead to all kinds of things.
We're there. We're there already. Look at what happened at Shanti
I'm being very careful.
We're there already.
I'm being very careful. You understand? And then all manner of people can, through the procurement of influence, end up on the Council of State.
Yeah.
It's very worrying. You understand? I mean, I'm sure that all of you are aware of the various rumors that I do not want to repeat about how 1 or 2 persons got elected onto the council. Frightening. So when you get to the point where election to the Council of State is influenced by the size of the pockets of those who are contesting, then we are in trouble. You understand? Then we are in very serious trouble.
What caliber of people are we appointing to the Council of State?
And as things stand, the Council of State is seen as a body which will have very experienced people who understand how the public sector works, people who themselves have gained tremendous experience in their lives and so on. I'm not so sure that going forward, that is what is going to be the Council of State.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. Because nothing prevents a 24-year-old boy who has just graduated with no work experience and so on
to contest,
and whose parents have a lot of money, ending up as a member of the Council of State. And that's my worry.
There's a 32-year-old person in there.
Yeah, he's in there. I mean, look, there's something structurally wrong with the model. I mean, how did we as a state, and I don't know what the intention of the crafters or the drafters of our constitution were. I mean, how do we as a people decide that we're looking for wise experience, as Uncle Kwesi said, people who have been through life have some experience to share, and to counsel our president and parliament and the judiciary and some other state organs? How do we then decided that as a people, let's go and vote for them? When we know that elections do not necessarily produce wise people. It just most of the time we end up producing people who are the most popular and the people who have the money.
But in those times,
I
remember
how what were we thinking?
I remember during the referendum of 1992.
Yes.
28th of April. I remember that time I was at Ashanti New Town. We were all asked to go and vote yes. Kwesi Pratt and others say we should go and vote yes.
No, I said we should vote no.
Oh, really?
Myself, Akoto Ampaw, and a few others objected to this constitution.
But the yes votes were
the entire constitution.
Yes. We insisted that we should reject the constitution.
Yeah. What was the reason at the time?
Well, we had come up with a formula for the transition.
Okay.
And the formula we had come up with for the transition was to have a neutral body taking over from the PNDC, and administering the transition.
Okay.
So one of the formulas we had worked out would have seen the Chief Justice as interim head of state and so on. And all those were rejected. And then there were aspects of the Constitution that we were very uncomfortable with. For example, the aspects of the Constitution which dealt with asset declaration and which excluded spouses and so on. So we actually felt that this Constitution
was not fit for
should be
purpose.
rejected. But then the people that we were working with, people like Professor Dubois-Hine and others, actually wanted this Constitution voted for. And the argument was that, look, let's vote for the Constitution. When we get power, we can change it. And we've had power for how long? And the Constitution is still there.
So it was like a no vote would have delayed the transition process.
Right.
So we went and voted yes.
Yes.
But I also think at that time, maybe because Uncle Kosi and others were deeply involved in the process, monetization in our politics was not known at that time. I didn't see that. So the framers of the Constitution didn't envisage that a time will come that our electoral process will be influenced by this level of monetization. And for me, that is worrying. Something must be done intentionally to eliminate or reduce to the barest minimum how money influences our elections. A time will come, if you don't have money, you can't be elected into any public office. We need to look at the Constitution and our electoral laws. Is it possible that we can even make paying monies to influence voters a punitive sanction? Can we be explicit that should you spend beyond a certain level, ABC will be the consequences? Very harsh one. I don't know how this can be operationalized. We check the CI 127. Nothing talks about punitive measures when it comes to influencing electoral officer. You go to the Criminal Offences Act of 1960. Even in there, it talks about gifts with the intention of influencing. That is when you can be found culpable to the law. So it means that if the gift is not seen to have influenced anything negative, then nothing happens to you. So you must be clear in our laws, and this can be done. If something drastic is not done, it's going to get worse. Council of State elections, monies became a tool of getting some persons elected.
The irony is that this is supposed to be a state organ or a state institution that's supposed to serve as the moral conscience of this country, Ghana. Moral conscience. And you look at how they got there.
Yeah, but I'm saying that is the norm now. How do we deal with it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, Parliament, I was saying that the next CI for elections, there should be serious amendments. And President Mahama has put together a committee to look at review of the Constitution. I was thinking that this is one too many. We had several reviews. Nothing gets done about that, okay? Professor Mills, the late, there was a Constitutional Review Committee. Recently, Chairman Sabunsu, our reviewer majority leader, also put together a committee to deal with the Constitution. Another one, we keep expending scarce resources.
But interestingly, Ghanaians said they want it, except that they would wish that the president's powers of electing 11 must be reduced to 5. But in principle, they think that the Council of State is fine.
If you look at the composition, those who are appointed, it gives you the discretion.
Yes.
If you wish the country well, and yourself well as the president, to appoint persons who are competent and well-deserving. At least I've worked a bit, okay, with Justice Sophia Adinyera. When I was at NAB, we went on inspection. She was in my team, and I saw the level of her knowledge. I mean, she's somebody who deserves to be there. And they had those who are appointed, like Kwesi Pratt mentioned, Do Ajaho. You can carefully, because getting people into elected position shouldn't necessarily be based on elections. there could be well-established criteria to get the best for us. Okay, so electing one person from each region, now we are 16, that's why we are 16. If in future we decide
to add one more regions,
I mean,
the numbers will keep growing.
So it's going to get murkier. But I wouldn't say that the Council of State is just a ceremonial entity. They have useful functions that they play.
Now, doesn't it look more like a potentially useful function rather than because in terms of the functional relevance, look, can us sitting here, can we remember one single intervention that the Council of State has done?
But you see,
for us to say that, look, okay, we may not be particularly impressed with their work, but at least for this particular singular reason or reasons, let's keep them there.
There are a lot of.
First of all, the Constitution itself.
Yes.
Requires the Council of State to work more or less in silence.
Yes.
So all of its meetings are in camera.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So it's not supposed to be a noisy organization telling us about what it has done and so on.
Yes.
So if we cannot point to what they have done, it is not necessarily an indictment.
But Ogosi, you just cited an example earlier. You cited an example earlier with the Electoral Commission. Our expectation is that if indeed we had a functioning Council of State, we should have seen some action at the time.
But you see,
so yes, I agree that they are supposed to be working silently, but we're judging them based on outcomes.
Tomorrow, we must also credit them with good faith.
Yes.
Okay, they might not get everything right. It doesn't mean that they are not useful recommendations and suggestions that they give to the president. They will do, but wouldn't hear. The fact that the EC one didn't see any reason.
Doc, I'm just asking you, are you feeling the impact of the Council of State, the existence of the Council of State? For me, that's the issue. Are you feeling their impact? And if we're not feeling their impact, what is stopping us from feeling the impact of the Council of State?
They are supposed to advise the president, ministers of state, and the rest. But my only challenge is that ministers and those they advise are not bound to implement their recommendations.
According to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's even the Constitution.
Yes,
it's clear.
Yes, and I'm sure the Supreme Court has interpreted it.
Yeah.
Yes.
However, they play useful roles when it comes to making of bills, controversial issues and all that. They work with the president. So they advise the president. The president wouldn't come and tell you that I asked the Council of State to do ABC for me and this is the outcome. Okay, so I wouldn't rubbish them. Maybe we can impress upon them to, let's say, for want of a better word, be more proactive and do more, okay, to ensure that this country moves quickly in terms of our developmental aspiration. We, the Council of State, we need them to do to advise the president and all that. That's what I'll say about that.
Oh, well.
For me,
I'm just saying that.
If you look at Article 92(3) of the Constitution, it's clear. The Council of State shall hold its meetings in camera, but may admit the public to any meetings whenever it considers it appropriate. It's clear.
It's clear.
It's supposed to be a quiet organization.
Okay, so I understand that, Dr. So if you're a quiet organization, and by the very laws that establishes you, says that the president is not bound to take the advice of the Council of State, Council of State members. And then you have the public asking, do we have a Council of State in this country? Do we have a Council of State in this country? Are they seeing what is happening? And how do you feel if you're a member of the Council of State and you're being lampooned and lambasted and criticized this way, when indeed your hands are tied because you may have said the president should go this direction, and the president says, I exercise executive authority and power, so I decide what I want to do. How does that make you feel as a Council of State member?
But you don't expect the president to accept any recommendation from them. The president will also have his own judgment.
So what are they doing there? I mean, if you're looking for if you're looking for wise heads, and as I like how to put them, or some council of elders that you want to run some, you want to run some issues by because you want some wise counseling. They are all over the place. You can just put a phone call through to them, and they will advise us to what to do. But if you have a situation where now we have institutionalized it, and the people whose taxes are being used to pay them are the same people who are asking, do we have an existing and a functional Council of State? Why is A happening? Why is B happening? Why is C happening? And I'm saying that it hasn't come to a point where we should all be asking ourselves, what are they doing?
Remember, at the A Parliament,
yes,
when Speaker declared our side as the minority, do you know the kind of work the Council of State did?
I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it was in the media. They met the Speaker. They had engagements and all that. It was.
No, I know about the engagements.
Yeah, they did that. That was how.
But how impactful were those engagements? That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
As for the impact, I cannot measure. But we can also sit here and say that the deliberations and engagement didn't yield to anything. Okay, where you work, you go for meetings, management meetings. Is it everything that you say that the MD here takes? But the MD would take some of your views. But there are some instances that, I mean, your MD might disagree with you. It doesn't mean that you're not making sense. Maybe the MD might be making much sense than you,
no,
or
you see
otherwise.
so sorry to speak, but I have a bit of a challenge with the analogy. I'm just saying that, look, I'm not being paid to advise my MD. Somebody is being paid to enable our president, Chief Justice, Speaker of Parliament, and so to make qualitative decisions that impact positively on our lives. And we've sat here and in fact, I don't even want to give a lot of examples, but Uncle Kwesi just told you that there was one particular thing that he felt very, very disappointed in the Council of State. It has to do with members who were appointed onto the Electoral Commission who were clearly, evidently, card-bearing members, and yet they were quiet.
But Uncle Kwesi mentioned one. Listen, he gave one instance.
Yes.
You cannot use an instance to make a conclusion.
I can assure you that if I gave Uncle Kwesi time, he can give a tall list of them.
No, but I'm saying that
even though in principle, he's still
in this instance, he gave an instance. But there could be other instances where right decisions or advices were given. Me sitting here, I have difficulty in accepting that if you are a politically exposed person,
yes,
you can't hold.
Don't serve on the council.
Or any public office. I have a difficulty because I feel that you must judge persons based on what they do, not necessarily what they are, in terms of political color. So are you saying that if there's an NDC person or CV person who is competent and can discharge their duties professionally, that person is not qualified to hold any public office?
Okay.
We appointed Jane Mensah, Bosman and Co. But look at the outcome of the election. The NDC won convincingly. The first time we've recorded, but the NDC had issues with the EC. They thought that the EC was going to be in bed with the NPP, but they had 183 seats. So for me, we have to be very careful. Let us go for competence. Unless we can prove that what the person is doing is against their sworn oath or the requirement of their job. Okay. Otherwise, a time will come that some of us, when I quit politics, and I have some competence to help this country in a different capacity, are you going to say that because Kingsley is NPP, he cannot, despite the fact that he has that unique qualities? Is that what you are saying? But I mean, we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. Otherwise, we'll be doing this country.
Well, I also think that, look, your ability to deliver is as equally important as the perception of where you belong.
Oh,
it's as equally important.
These opinions,
anyway, so let me just let's do this. I want us to move to next to, or it's as equally important as your biases. But anyway, so let's get on with our final story before we end the program. Now, before I do that, let me just say that Honorable Austin Game and the Traditional Council of Chiefs and Queen Mothers of Volo are inviting all the Volo citizens living in Accra, Tema, Ashaiman, Kaswa, Juapong, Pong, Adeso, Koforidia, and Cape Coast to an emergency meeting at the St. Mary International School premises near the Ashaiman Night Market at 11 a.m. on Saturday, 22nd February 2025. The purpose is to discuss an urgent matter which cannot be postponed. Come prepared to enable us have a conversation about the way out of this looming trouble. God bless, Honorable Austin Game, 16 February 2025. So, Honorable Austin Game, the Traditional Council of Chiefs and Queen Mothers of Volo, are inviting all Volo citizens living in Accra, Tema, Ashaman, Kaswa, Japon, Bong, Adesu, Kofrido, and Cape Coast for an emergency meeting at the St. Mary's International School premises near the Ashaman Night Market at 11 a.m. on Saturday, 22nd February 2025. The purpose is to discuss an urgent matter which cannot be postponed. Please come prepared to enable us have a conversation about the way out of this looming trouble. God bless, Honorable Austin Game. So if you hear this announcement, please tell your other colleagues and tell a friend to tell a friend of the Volo community to attend this all-important meeting, which is coming off on Saturday, this coming Saturday. Okay, I want us to look at, Dr. Doc, I want us to look at the issue about asset declaration. The conversation has also come back. It's not the first time, and it's back on the front burner again, and whether we can do more in giving true meaning and to the asset declaration regime. So if you look at page 13 of today's daily graphic, I'm still with the daily graphic. The President Mahama declares assets, issues March 31, deadline for appointees. Kester Abraham Kranche from the Jubilee House is also reporting that President John Dramani Mahama yesterday handed his relevant appointees a March 31, 2025 deadline to declare the assets in accordance with the required law or face possible dismissal. The President issued a virtual ultimatum after he publicly submitted documents of the assets portfolio to the Auditor General Johnson Ekuamoa-Siedu in compliance with the constitutional requirement outlined in Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution and the Public Office Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act 1998, Act 550. The asset declaration documents provide details of the President's property and assets. The action was the first public submission of assets declaration documents by a President in the country and appeared to confirm President Mahama's commitment to transparency and accountability, a key theme in his 2024 election campaign. Following his action, President Mahama instructed all his appointees to declare their assets by March 31, 2025, with consequences including removal from office for non-compliance. I've just performed a simple but very important act of presenting my completed asset declaration forms to the Auditor General as required by Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution, the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act 1998 at 550. President Mahama said, Ghana's asset declaration regime and its related activities have often been shrouded in secrecy, and unless in special circumstances, compliance is often difficult to measure. In times past, I would privately have presented these forms to the Auditor General in fulfillment of my statutory obligation. President Mahama said he took the step to present the asset declaration forms publicly as a way of injecting some openness and transparency into the process of asset declaration. I've always maintained that while it is all well and good to punish corruption, a more effective way of addressing the canker is preventing it from occurring in the first place. I honestly believe that if properly curated and enforced, the assets declaration process can become a sustainable tool for tackling corruption. Now, the Auditor General, Mr. Ekuamoa-Siedu, back calls for the reformation of the current asset declaration regime as a measure to fight corruption. If you say you have 10 bank accounts and you bring it to us, how are we to be sure that indeed it's only 10 bank accounts that you have? If you say you have 2 buildings, what can we do to ensure that it is exactly the 2 buildings that you have? So reviewing the Constitution, as His Excellency has said, I think it's a very, very important issue that we have to take seriously, and we also support the publishing of asset declaration documents. If you submit your assets and declaration forms, we should be able to publish them freely. Is that the way to go? Publish them freely? So as President Mahama has done, we'll publish it. Everybody gets to know what he has and what he doesn't have. Angwezi.
Well, yesterday, when I heard that the President was going to declare his assets publicly, I actually thought that we were going to get into the details of what he has and what he doesn't have.
Right.
Unfortunately, what we saw was that the President just presented an envelope to
the Auditor General.
To the Auditor General. I don't think that amounts to a public declaration of assets.
Right.
That's not a public declaration of assets, you know. Now, I've read the Constitution very carefully, and in fact, the Auditor General is not required to open the envelope which was given to him.
That is true.
If you read the Constitution very carefully, all he has to do is receive the envelope and keep it there for 4 years. The only time that envelope may be opened or its contents may be examined and when SHRAJ, a request is made by SHRAJ or a competent court or I think an investigation authority or so. I think so, 3. That's the only time the envelope may be opened. So it is very possible to declare your assets and it will never be open. Nobody would ever know what is in there if you follow this constitution.
Yeah.
You know. Then, the other problem with the declaration of assets is simply that spouses are not required to also declare their assets. So if you're a woman and you are married to a man,
oh my God.
My goodness. Then you can vest all your assets or most of your assets into your husband, you know, and no problem. You understand? Now the Constitution says that after every 4 years, you need to fill the declaration again. The Constitution says that any additional asset acquired whilst you are in office, which cannot be traced to your income or inheritance or something else, will be deemed to be illegally acquired. But, my friend, 99.95% of people who are holding public office, their declarations will never become public. So what's the point?
Should we get there?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you want to occupy public office, there is a presumption that your life will no longer be private. And I think that's where we should get. You know, public office holders must understand that they can no longer hide under privacy provisions in the law and so on. And I think we should get there. Okay. If you don't want your life to be scrutinized,
stay in your private lane.
If you don't want your assets to be known and evaluated and so on, stay in your kitchen.
Doc, you agree?
I mean, yeah, this is that we all have to obey.
You declared yours, did you?
Yeah, at the 8th Parliament I did.
You did.
So I have 2 more months for me to do the one for this Parliament, and I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
But you're supposed to declare twice. You declare
at the beginning,
and then at the end of 4 years,
you
it's mandatory to declare
because,
again.
Yeah, that's what the Constitution says. But
so
also,
you declare 3 times.
But no, but also the opposite part. When I do what I'm going to do within the 3 months, I will have to add on any addition or subtraction that pertains to me. So I discussed that with the colleague, because you're going to do it again. If I were not going to go to Parliament again, then you do the second one as you are saying. But I'm going to go there again, so there will be an addition or subtraction per the new one. So, but after declaration, normally the thinking or the perception is that it is only those of us who are politically exposed, MPs, ministers, and all that.
No.
Indulge me to read Article 286, Clause 5. Those who are supposed to declare their asset. The public offices to which the provisions of this article apply are those of A, the President of the Republic, B, the Vice President of the Republic, C, the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and a Member of Parliament. Then you come to D, Minister of State or Deputy Minister, E, Chief Justice, Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, Chairman of a Regional Tribunal, the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and his deputies, and all judicial officers. F, Ambassador or High Commissioner. G, Secretary to the Cabinet. 8, Head of Ministry or Government Department or equivalent office in the civil service. I, Chairman, Managing Director, General Manager, and Departmental Head of a public corporation or company in which the state has a controlling interest. And J, such officers in the public service and any other public institution as Parliament may prescribe.
Okay.
So this is the gamut of those who are supposed to declare their assets.
SIC.
Yeah, so it's not only MPs or ministers.
Yeah.
It goes beyond that.
Yeah.
But normally, the idea is that it's only us. So we must demand on all these institutions.
I don't think they've
to do
left
that.
out, have they?
No, but
Maybe the focus of the conversation is usually on
we need to
the
broaden it
deputy
to
president, vice
yeah,
president.
but
Yeah.
most of these persons don't do. I'm telling you. So
They don't?
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't.
But then that's the fault of the Auditor General. Then he's supposed to insist
Yeah,
that they do.
But the Auditor General himself
Yeah.
is also supposed to declare his assets.
Yeah.
But he declares his assets to the president. And the president declares his assets to the Auditor General.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we must all meet this constitutional obligation. At least, if you're a public office holder, you should understand that you are being scrutinized by the public. So, whatever you do is not private no more. And we should be bold to let this down, to set example for others to know that any property or income that we got were legitimately done. The worry is that, as Kwesi said, when it is sealed, nobody opens it until something happens and you are being investigated. That is where the courts, the investigator track can request for its examination. If you can do more about it, I mean, why not? I mean, so this is what I would say about.
How about those How about those who say that, you know, it's all well and good? I mean, in principle, it makes sense that as a public officer, you don't have the right to now say that because, for whatever reason, you want to keep your assets or liabilities private. You know, once you decide that you want to become a public officer, it means that you must be prepared to, you know, deal with the consequences of it. But there are some also say that when you do that, one of the dangers that could possibly be associated with it is that you then open up this person to all manner of unnecessary pressure. Because now I know you have 10 cars, you have 20 houses, you have 10 million cedis, $10 billion in your account. So when I come to you now, you don't have a problem.
That's not the problem.
Really?
Declaration of assets would mean, for example, that if you have life insurance policy,
yes,
it should be declared. It's an asset.
True.
Yes. So if you have life insurance policy, the beneficiaries know how much they will gain if they kill you.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So there are consequences.
Of course.
If you make it public.
Of course, of course.
And it's only going to make your work much harder with the pressure from foot soldiers.
So why should we do? So why should we have it in the first place if these negative consequences?
But do you think they are legitimate, valid concerns?
I mean, people have concerns, but as long as you can justify how
you just talked about monetizing our politics. If you're going back as a member of parliament you're going to contest again as member of parliament for Kwadaso, and now the public knows you have 10 houses. I'm not saying you do have 10 houses, and now the public the voters know what you have.
Where from this assertion, 10 houses?
No, I'm saying in case. I'm just assuming you had 10 houses.
I thought you said mostly.
Okay, so I'm assuming you had 3 houses, or whatever number of properties or assets that you have. That is now going to shape, or to some extent inform what their expectations should be in terms of what they expect from you. So if indeed in the beginning you say take 10 cedis for transportation, now when they take that 10 Ghana cedis, they'll say that you can't give more than that.
See, we must also be very careful in suggesting that politicians have so much.
Well, that's the perception.
So some have so much.
Yes, some have.
Yeah, some have so much.
Yes, I'm saying that we don't have to generalize it because there are some who have.
You mean there are poor politicians?
Of course. You see, there are some who also do legitimate businesses. They are there. They seek permission from
the speaker.
Yes. Okay, Office of Profits, and they work. And we know some of them in Parliament who have a lot of resources. And there are some too who don't know how to do business and who don't also have much. Okay. So can you imagine somebody came to my house and said that, Member of Parliament, I get free provisions. I have security, everything free for me. And I said, where do you get this from? As member of parliament, I buy my own fuel. I pay my driver. My security, I pay my security. From what I'm giving at the end of the month. It's when you're a minister of state that we get some of these perks. Okay, but that is the perception there. Who gives me provisions? But it is out there. So everybody thinks that being a member of parliament, you have a lot of money. And there is something that we must also educate the public about. That puts that undue pressure on us. And the impression we create that you go into public service to make money. Now, discussing with Uncle Kwesi that when your party wins power, people come to you and say that, oh, go for this ministry, go for the Jewish ministry. That's what people come and tell you.
Okay.
What's the mindset? Are you going into that particular ministry to work to improve upon that ministry and the fortunes of the economy? Or you are going in there because there's something there that you are going to take?
Okay.
And this conversation comes from society.
Okay.
Then the society will turn around and accuse the politician of being corrupt. In fighting corruption, we must go beyond these legislations.
Okay.
Okay? We must go beyond these legislations and inculcate in the Ghanaian, especially the young ones, the need to be, to be a patriot. They need to love your country. They need to do well for your country.
Okay.
They need to sacrifice and be selfless. Okay, if you're able to imbibe these values in our children, I'm sure that we should be able to have a rippling effect on our psyche and our minds.
Okay.
Corruption, people are going to find ways of dealing with that. That is why we have legislation. But the mindset, the values, I think will do us more good.
Two quick questions. And I'll be happy if we can exhaust it in just 5 minutes. But whilst at it, so two quick questions. One is that some people have a bit of a challenge with the March deadline. They feel they could have come a bit earlier. You know, why March? And that the fear is that some may even amass wealth quickly, and then it would find expression in their asset declaration
that
form.
In the 3 month
yes,
period,
yes, there's some people who
they
are,
will grab so much.
Yeah. Some people have that genuine fear.
So how many months are they? So how many days are they suggesting?
And then again, no. I mean, some say some
look at the time.
two.
Look at the time the president is using to appoint.
And then my second question. Sorry, my second question before you come. I beg. My second question before. Again, when you look at the law, you just read it. It talks about declaring before you even assume office. So perhaps it's a bit belated. Even the terms.
No, it doesn't say so.
No, please look at it.
Within 3 months.
It's within 3 months.
Within 3 months.
I thought it was before.
No, it's here. 2861. It talks about.
Go further down a bit.
No,
but before that, Ambassador Sampiale says, he says I should ask you this question.
How do you declare your assets before you assume office? How do you know that you've been appointed to an office?
No, I mean, once you are in an acting...
Moro, it says that a person who holds a public office mentioned in clause 5 of this article shall submit to Auditor General a written declaration of all property or assets owned by or liabilities owed by him, whether directly or indirectly, within 3 months after the coming into force of this constitution or before taking office.
Before taking office.
Before taking office, as the case may be.
The 3 months refers to the coming into effect of the constitution. But in terms of the declaration of the assets itself, it's before taking office. You just read it.
Okay. No, I don't think it's practicable.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's what the constitution meant.
Taking off it.
So Ambassador Piale is asking a question. He says, so what was the Honorable Kwadasu MP doing on the eve of the Jesu by-elections? One must be principled in acting what one says. The advice of the Council of State is not mandatory.
Answer the question.
Under a recalcitrant president, the council can be reduced to a docile assembly of eminent men and women.
Honorable...
this one, sorry, just 1 second. Good morning, Moro. Regarding asset declaration, what about public officers such as those in procurement office officers and similar roles. I believe they should be required to declare their assets. That's where major issues often arise. Additionally, there should be a periodic lifestyle asset declaration to ensure ongoing transparency. It's one thing that was an indomitable. I said it time and again, the lifestyle audit. So it's not enough to just declare asset, but also watch the person's lifestyle even after the person has declared the asset, and then compare to what they claim they have.
In Ghana, everybody will go to prison.
If they do a lifestyle audit?
Yeah. How many people do you think in this country live on their legitimate earnings?
Very few. You're right, very few.
Maybe none.
If we want to be brutally honest.
So,
okay.
No, let me
just a quick, I beg you. Mansa Musa is a regular viewer of the show, and he sent us a message. He says, the more let it be said clearly that fugitive or not, it is the overwhelming need or desire to get our monies back is overwhelmingly paramount. When people accepted the privileges and responsibilities of public office, they pledged to do good by us, and they accepted that in the absence of propriety, they would submit themselves for any appropriate public opprobrium. Enough of double speak and obfuscation. We need to know how and why our public finances are in such a mess. And that's the bottom line. Good morning from Mansa Musa in the UK. Mansa, good morning. I hope that you're doing very well. And finally, before you, because if I don't do this out, so this one, Alaji, so Simons, who's the Dean of the Parliamentary Press Corps, says the MPP in 2016 also had serious issues with Charlotte Osei, but won convincingly. And finally, Alaji Hadi from Pig Farm says, Honorable Kingsley Nyako has just implicated himself this morning because he was caught in the television giving money in large envelope to electrical officers, and it was all to influence the voting process. What has even happened to that case? He should tell us. Alaji Hamza from Pig Farm. And he says, you're calling for equity. Come with clean hands.
So I want to put on record.
Okay.
That
you didn't give bribe.
I have not given bribes to anybody.
Okay.
What happened at the Jusso? I think I've explained that. I had read the CR 127.
Okay.
Because I was the head of the Election and Research Committee when we were going to elections. So I took my time to read everything. And I also read the Criminal Offences Act. And I became convinced that providing somebody food or money for food was not a crime under our laws.
Transportation and food.
Yeah,
water.
because Uncle Sampiali used to be an MP. And we know politicians support the EC and all that. That's why I'm saying that we need to be explicit.
Okay. Or what constitutes
in our laws? We need to amend our CI. We need to amend the Criminal Offences Act, okay, and make it explicit that anybody, any politician, who provides support to the EC, whether in cash or in kind, has committed an offence, must be clear in the law. If I had seen that expressly stated in the law, I wouldn't have even ventured to do that.
But that can potentially influence the Electoral Commission. I mean, do you need this to be explicitly
and I'm saying that even
stated in
the
the
Criminal Offences Act,
yes,
it says that a gift
yes,
with the intention
yes,
of influencing.
Yes.
So then that law is even defect.
Okay.
Because that law recognizes the giving of gifts.
I hear you.
Unless the gift is proven
to
have done something untoward.
All right. Prince Derek Keje also thinks that you should be invited by the police.
Oh, I was invited by the CID.
Yes.
I voluntarily went.
Okay.
OSP, I went there on 3 occasions. And in 2 of the occasions, they held me for about 8 hours.
Okay.
Okay? And they asked them who has come to complain that I've given bribe. He said nobody. It's the public outcry that made them to invite me. So those who were accusing me, nobody even went to the OSP to say that
to lodge any complaints.
I've done ABC.
Okay.
So I offered myself. Even the OSP should have written to the Speaker of Parliament to give me permission to go.
Okay.
But I went there myself. So for the record, I've been to the CID and I've been to the OSP.
So Musa Batwa Sawasi says President Mahama deserves a commendation for his remarkable leadership within just 100 days in office. Fulfilling over 40 promises in such a short time is no small feat. Notably, The Education Forum in the Volta region brought together key stakeholders to address critical issues, ensuring quality and accessible education while working to eliminate the double track system. Before I go, I have this very, very, Seydou Kpebu, a very good friend of mine. He says, Moro, please tell Honorable Kingsley Nyako that we saw him in a video giving out bribe to EC officials. Seydou, he just explained. He says he's gone to see the police, and the police said they see nothing wrong. Prosper says that, Moro, we should be serious more. Why do we vote a person to be president and assume that he cannot assemble the right people who will tell him what is right or wrong? Rather, we would need to impose who should advise him rather than proposing them for scrutiny by the same people. Presidential advisors play a crucial role in supporting the president in making informed decisions. According to Act 89, they must hold some key attributes that helps the president make decisions in the best interest of the country. They should first and foremost come with great experience. Here, age is a factor, and expertise, integrity with good success in his or her chosen field over a period. And it goes on and on and on. Importantly, the activity should be documented for prosperity. Prosperity is a very long one. I couldn't read all, but let me just do this quickly. And it's a birthday of a very good friend of mine. In fact, his two sons. And I need to do this quickly before my time ends. Abdul Basit, who is based in the UK, his two sons, Abdul Samad, Abdul Basit, he turns 17 today. Happy birthday, Abdul Basit. Your father loves you. We all do love you. Family loves you. We wish you the best. And grow up and make us proud as daddy's, in line with daddy's wishes and desires and prayers as well. And also Abdul Swala Abdul Basit, you turned 14 4 days ago. A happy belated birthday. That's coming from your dad and your mom, both in the UK. They wish you well. They wish you the best of luck. Anyway, so this is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Good Morning Ghana, Wednesday edition, today being the 19th of February 2025. I want to say a big thanks to our one and only Uncle Kwesi Pratt, who is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. And then also a big thanks to a very good friend of this show, also MP, Kwadaso MP, Dr. Kingsley Nyako. Doc, thank you so very much for joining us. I guess that we've had a very interesting and a very productive conversation. So thanks for watching Good Morning Ghana once again. Tomorrow same time, God willing, inshallah, we'll be here. My name once again is Awudu. Wow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Honorable ministers present, senior presidential advisors here, honorable members of parliament here, Mr. President, the Ghanaian people have given you emphatic victory in the last general election.
Agree with me that a lot of people think